Mammon comes from an Aramaic word that means wealth or entrusted wealth. It was part of systems in society where wealth was guarded and protected by often government. There was an unrighteous mammon and there was more of a righteous mammon. And you weren't to put your faith in the unrighteous mammon. You might have to be friends with it for a while. Now, this could get very confusing if you don't understand exactly what they're talking about when they're talking about why would you want to be friends with the unrighteous mammon so that when it fails, you would be suitable for more righteous habitations. Well, if it's just money, it really doesn't make any sense. But it does make sense when you realize that they were talking in the same context, in the same verses, about the treasury of the government. Money was coming into the treasury of the government of Israel, of Judea, and it was put on deposit for government projects and government welfare and government services. And that was, for some reason or other, called the unrighteous mammon. And you weren't to trust in that. You weren't to trust in these treasuries where thieves and robbers could come and steal it. So what would be the righteous mammon, and how would that work? And what are they talking about entrusted wealth? You cannot serve God and mammon. Again, he's talking about that unrighteous mammon. And that's what was happening. If we look back at the baptism that we've talked about, we see that they're entering into a political society, a religious political society, and where they had certain duties and obligations. And that was to contribute part of their wealth into this central treasury of wealth for the good of all society. But that was like the days of Moses and the golden calf. We weren't supposed to do that because it doesn't really bind society together by faith, hope, and charity. It compels them by contract, by exercising authority to come together. So that system of bringing people together, depositing their wealth under the authority of men who call themselves benefactors, whether it be Nimrod or Herod or Caesar, it will eventually fail. And you need a more righteous habitation that is the kingdom of God that operates much differently than that. And so this whole idea of mammon goes back to that entrusting your wealth into the hands of somebody else to protect you in the case of social calamity or personal calamity. That's not what you should be doing. You should be building the bonds of faith, hope, and charity. And this is what early Christianity did, because that whole system created by men like Herod and the Pharisees collapsed. They always do, and they will today.